Good afternoon and welcome to the Fields at Night Stadium for this men's lacrosse matchup between the captains of Christopher Newport University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. This is a coast-to-coast athletic conference matchup, second matchup of the season for these two teams. First matchup was won by the captains by 10 goals, 16-6. And this one should be a little more competitive with the Knights definitely trending in a good direction. Again, I am Adam Peterson, and joined with me here in the booth, as always, Coach Winterton. Good to be with you, Coach. What can you tell us about this game?
Well, a little chilly today, right? It'll be interesting to see if the rain holds out. That could end up being a factor. We've lucked out so far in the schools in this area that were starting games early. This is a huge lacrosse weekend all across the country. This one here, as you mentioned, Adam, is an unusual situation in lacrosse where teams are playing each other for the second time in the regular season. And that usually is not the case. Unlike basketball, where you often will do home and away, we don't see that very often in lacrosse. And this is really a good opportunity for the Knights to come out and get a bit of redemption from a team that is ranked 14th in the country. Now, you mentioned that the captains have looked a little bit vulnerable. They beat W&L in overtime in their most recent game just last week. But they've had a couple losses recently that it'll be interesting to see kind of what this week of practice has brought for both teams. The captains came into the season with 3 or 4 preseason All-Americans, right? And they haven't quite lived up to that billing in terms of individual play, but they have some really good overall team play. And, you know, they're led by their midfielder, Brady Altabello, who's got 39 points on the year, but right behind him, number 6, Dylan Rice, has 36 points on the year. So, you know, it's interesting to have a midfielder leading your team in points. That doesn't happen very often. So the Knights will have to do a great job of matching up against him. Now, on offense, the Knights have been killing it all year. They are among the top 50 in the country every week in points per game. And it really has to do because they just don't hold back. And they've got scoring options. Team play, Adam, that I think they're doing much better at.
Yeah, and that was just great recognition there by Sean Lamb. Comes up with the ball after the face-off, has Zach Sands, the face-off man for the captains, on him, and that's a great matchup for Sean. Able to take advantage of it. Everyone was ready for the slide. Chandler just did a good job slipping there. Sean Lamb finds him. Chandler Westcott puts that one in the back of the net, and we're going to have a face-off violation against the captains here, and Knights are going to get their second quick possession to start this game.
The last game, the captains won 16 of 24 face-offs. Just to reiterate, the captains won 16-6, a 10-point lead, 10-point margin rather. And here the Knights come in and are 2-0 on face-offs, one win and one face-off violation. And really, it's going to be important for the Knights to stay in 50-50 at least on those face-offs.
As there's a turnover from Chandler Westcott, who's just slipped, but Zach Danneman, great ride there.
Got the tail end of that defenseman's stick. Number 33 is really great. And here, Eric Knorr, who has really come on for the Knights, finding an opportunity to take we call that slow break, like kind of a quick transition moment that isn't really fast break, but you're taking advantage of the captains being out of sorts, not really established in who's going to help, who's got who. And he's sitting right down on the crease. Remember, he's a midfielder, folks. And that check by Danneman sets it up with Seth Millington grabbing the ball. And what's great is Ty Veers, you know, we talk about this all the time in lacrosse. When you get a ground ball, if you can move that ball 2 times in quick succession, you're going to have an opportunity to add scoring. Not to say you're going to get a guaranteed goal, of course, but you got an opportunity. And that was Millington on the ground ball to Ty Veers, who bangs it down to to again, fairly confident in saying they really haven't been all that close over the last 8 years.
Yeah, this is the 10th matchup as the captains. We see the captains for the first time on offense. 10th ever matchup between the two teams. Closest was in 2019, and Coach, we were both a part of that team. The game was tied at 9 with less than a minute left in the third quarter, as there's a goal for the captains, and that is Kobe Oslander for his 10th goal of the season. But going back to that game in 2019, tied at 9, and to end the game, the captains went on a 6-1 run to win by 5. That's been the closest matchup between the two schools. But as we've been preparing and looking forward to this one
and it doesn't look like there's going to be, much in way of. That's also not really the MO of the captains. They like to push this. Mikey Thompson, former offensive midfielder for the University of Virginia Cavaliers, really a very good player for them. I knew him up in Charlottesville. He's a great kid that back then, and has really taken this CNU team to great heights. They've had times where they've been in the top 5 in the nation over the last 3 or 4 years.
In 2016, most successful year as the captains again working their offense. And there's a great shot by one of those preseason All-Americans, Will Stockhausen, with a beautiful high finish there for his 18th goal on the season.
So Will is an impressive player. When you watch him play, I don't know if you're watching that play right there, and his movement, where he has really the ability to dodge, redodge. He came out of that lefty-righty. He likes to have the ball on his stick, and he's not a speed dodger, but he really takes advantage of matchups. He comes around that, rolls back to his right hand. That's a really great shot by him. Really forcing the issue where he likes his matchup. He was against Isaac DeJarlis and used the matchup without a slide to say, look, if you're not going to come to me, we're going to, force this issue. And that's, that really is the MO of Salisbury, a team that CNU has tried very hard to catch up to, and they're probably the closest in the what formerly Capital Athletic Conference to be there. But them and CNU and York were always pushing for those that second spot, and the captains have gotten to a place where they can match up with Salisbury. Salisbury still pretty much has their number, but you'll see things that you'll see Salisbury have pioneered and Coach Berkman. That's one of them, where you'll see their midfielders hang on to the ball and stay in the dodge if you don't slide to them, and they like the matchup.
That was a good deflected shot by Nick Bear, and looked like Seth Millington was there on the backup, but referees awarded that one to the captains. But there we have a moving screen that will give the ball back to the Knights. And this one's all knotted up at 2, as this is a good spot to be in if you're a Knights fan. Is that shot?
He's calling a pass right there. Maybe it was. I don't know. There wasn't a hard shot for sure. So, and the Knights are into their 10-man, looking to run a trap here on whoever comes across.
As we see the shot taken, ends up pretty close. And the ball's going to be awarded to the captains. And
Trayson was standing out of bounds. He was on the other side of that black. It's the black lines. So,
yeah, he was. But I think the ball was out of bounds when he touched it. So he definitely. I don't know. We've had this problem with
the moment he's out of bounds. Though it doesn't matter where the ball is. He's not in play anymore. So I think that's what the ref called, was that be considered for backup.
as Dallin made a save there. I believe that's his
Really great save.
First save of the day so far, as the Knights will work on offense. And that's a 15-yard shot taken by Sean Lamb. Bounces just wide. Tenney had the backup. Looks like Eric's going to work one-on-one here against a short stick midfield defender, Miles Collins.
Zach Hanaway's a good goalie, sophomore goalie. Started every game, played most of the year, and his goal is against average of 10.96. That's pretty. They faced Lynchburg twice. They faced Salisbury twice. Oh, a pipe ball and a great ground ball by 28. They're going to throw a flag on that. Yeah, they're going to call a trip. But he's a solid goalie. When you consider the teams that he has faced, and Colorado College, SVU on the first time, like this is a goalie, 10 goals a game. This defense is a solid defense. They're a group that can really work well together. You watch them on film, and they've got good handles. They're athletic. There's not necessarily a kid you look at and be like, oh, that guy's the best defender in the country, but they work together well as a team. They're fun to watch play together. And then you saw that ground ball right there was really a nice ground ball. So last game, by the way, interesting stat. There were 8 man-up opportunities, 6 for the Knights, 2 for the captains, and there were no goals. It was 0 for 8 for both teams.
Yeah, that was a big reason the Knights lost by a 10-goal deficit, was going 0 for 6 on the man-up, as there's a good ground ball war, and Seth Millington comes up with it.
Look at the speed. Will Stockhausen, and he is just an incredible athlete. He's a great get out of Mechanicsville, Virginia. One of the better players to come out of Atlee in the last 4 or 5 years.
Well,
let's talk. Are athletic, and we've talked about this over the last 4 or 5 games. How do you beat a 10-man ride? Right? You either do what they did to start with, which is take a shot, 70 yards, 50 yards, whatever you can get. You take the shot, try to get the backup. Your midfielders can outwork and see if you can't get to a ball to a streaking midfielder who's outworking the guy covering him. Or, in this case, you beat the attackman. Now, the Knights run this in a way that they're looking to jump and double team whoever comes over. But right there, you've got Aiden really just taking matters into his own hands. Yeah, and that's the other way to do it.
Really the first time as Landon Barney comes up with the ground ball, but checked out of his stick and going to end up in the stick of Zach Sands for the captains. Really the first time that we've seen Seth out of position. He's usually waiting right there, whoever has the ball coming across the midline. This time, because of the ground ball, was kind of obviously captains put a goal and they're up 3-2. It's now
one of the things that Coach Thompson really, as an offensive guy, what you'll see, that right there, I was just getting ready to mention this. So 2 things that they'll do. They will religiously attack the short sticks from the midfield, which is why you see a guy like Brady Altabello, number 25, leading the team in scores. They will attack from up top. The other thing they do is they move really well off the ball. And so when that double team came right there, we're going to see different sets out of the captains today, but we're going to see that kind of thing right there where they're going to attack the short sticks and then they're going to move behind it.
Yeah, that goal was scored by Robbie Adams, number 13 for the captains, assisted by is leading the team in assists and throughout his career.
It'll be interesting to see how they work to match up against Zach Danneman, 4th in the country in total goals. Here they're putting Max Wayne, who's probably their best defender, 6'4", 215. But, I mean, they double team him right there. Like, what are you going to do, Adam? at the end of last week's game, and we had a chance to talk for about 15 or 20 minutes, and I tried to understand from him, how do you approach the game? And it's funny because he can't really articulate his game in terms of, like, he comes out and he plays so much by instinct. His game comes from a place of, what are you giving me? And then doing things that you really see very few people doing. And in that case, in that instance, you know, he fakes the rollback. He's got a man right on him. He leans away with the double team coming and gets a goal over the goalie's shoulder. Most of his best goals come out of just, like, not scripted moments. You know, he just does Zach. And he's so sharp with his, he rarely hits the goalie. Rarely is he hitting the goalie in the chest. He shoots for orange. No backup there. That's a turnover for, you know, it doesn't go down as a turnover, but that's definitely count that as a turnover in his own stats.
Yeah, definitely not going to be happy with that one. Going back to Zach Danneman, you mentioned, Coach, having Max Wayne on him. Max Wayne is one of those 4 preseason All-Americans that the captains have. And that is definitely going to be a matchup to watch, as that shot, it looked like the captain's attacker there was trying to block the shot with his body, ended up falling on the ground. And
he thought he got pushed. He came up with hands up like, hey, where was the push from behind? And maybe it was, but, you know, they don't call that very often, where it's just kind of guys fighting and getting tangled up. This is a situation that the Knights have been able to capitalize on quite a bit in terms of getting defenders hung up and their movement. They get off good shots.
As that shot is taken there by Sean Lamb.
So here we see the captains going into a zone. Whoever.
That 2-man game between Sean and Zach almost ended up in a shot, and there is a shot taken by Ty Veers, and just as you mentioned, wonderful save there by Zach Hanway.
Looks like they're calling a hold on after the play. They're calling a defenseman for holding away from the ball. A great outlet, though. Really great outlet.
If that was a hold away from the ball, wouldn't that be interference and a penalty, Coach?
Yeah, well, we should have. Well, no, it was on the captain, so they had possession. So that's why it's just a turnover. They are playing a zone here. The captains are playing a zone where they've got the 2 shorties at the high corners, and you'll see them sharing, passing off. Questions in the zone is looks like they may have slipped out of it. Now they're out of the zone. They're going back into man-to-man.
That's always tough for an offense when the defense is switching up what they're doing so consistently and doing it pretty seamlessly, which is tough to deal with as an offense, and it works out for them there.
Right, slick ground ball by Jack Cook. Yeah, that's the second really high-quality ground ball he's gotten.
They're able to get the ball to Kobe Oslander, right, who they wanted the ball, but he went over the midfield line in a tough spot, and the Knights working hard.
I'm not sure why that's not over and back.
As the far side ref got it.
Because once it gets below 60 seconds, that ball cannot be on the defensive side. And I looked over the clock, and it was 52 seconds. So that ride is just dangerous. And they try – I know teams – I mean, look, captains have access to every single game that the Knights have played. So, you know, Mikey Thompson surely has watched with his staff, and they've worked on this. But it's one thing to face it in practice and see it in film. It's another thing to come out and do it against a team that just works as hard as the Knights do on the ride.
The Knights working offensively as we have 3 minutes, 45 seconds remaining here in this first quarter. That shot taken by Danneman just wide.
I think you're going to see Daneman keep working this situation. I think Max is going to have his hands full all game long. Daneman is getting lower than Max is right now, and he's getting off some good shots. Send the double team right away, and he sets up the shooters. Oh, what a great save.
Little extra pass there by Ben. Set up like he was going to take a long shot, able to find his teammate there in Ty Veers. And
that's the way you take a 70-yard shot, though. That you don't bounce it in. You shoot it high, make sure it's going to go over the goal, and then you can.
As that shot there by Dylan Rice, just wide. First time we've said his name in their last points. He is now at 2 now, leading the captains in career goals, first all time. So definitely someone to watch out for.
For sure. Here we have the second midfield in. A few younger players. Here we see senior Jordan Lee working hard with the ball. Again, trying to draw a slide. Nice defense get the better of him.
Yeah. As Knights are in a tough spot here with Brad coming over and having a long stick right on him, and one of the best LSMs in the country in Phoenix Hines has leading the team in 20 caused turnovers.
Yeah, senior, 5'11", 180 out of Ashburn. Young man that's been playing lacrosse for a long time. Oh, that. Oh, increase your angle.
Hand. As he's on the field along with the second midfield line here.
So there's an equipment malfunction. He took that shot off the helmet and couldn't quite see what was going on, but there was some kind of weird action with his throat protector, I think. And if you're a goalie, you do not want to have your throat exposed when you've got, players shooting 90 to 100 miles an hour. Really important to take care of the goalies. That was smart, proper play by the referees. It was there.
The captain's players arguing as he ran further after the ball went out of bounds. And then Ben did.
Ben stopped.
Ben stopped. Out of bounds, but there's a unforced error and turnover. Pass from Jake Glam goes just high, and that's another pretty easy save for Dallin, and trying to get the break started, and Ben's unable to.
Two bad passes that result in. The thing about those is those are unforced. There's one thing. The captains are turning the ball over in the clearing because the Knights are pushing so hard in the ride. Like, they're doing some unique things. But the way that the Knights play the ride, it also exposes them to scoring opportunities. Well, the last two plays, the captains weren't exposing themselves on the defensive end. It was just unforced turnovers by the Knights in poor passing.
Not really sure what happened there. It looked like both teams thought out and went to the sidelines. It did work out for the Knights that they were able to. Carter needs to go. Carter thought that they were going to be offsides, and Knights are man down. But another easy save for Dallin. The pass after some great shots to get the first 3 goals at least were great shots. Few easy ones for Dallin.
Yeah, stick side right there. He he's a good goalie, and test him at least.
As we have under 10 seconds remaining here, and Isaac will take a shot that is just a little high and outside there.
You'll see defensive player. I mean, he can play defense. And the end of the first quarter, a fun first quarter. Knights jump out to an early lead, and then captains battle back and finish out 4-3. But the thing that's really a difference maker here, Adam, we're seeing more equalized face-off play, and we're also seeing the ride situation. The transition is different now than it was. This is something the Knights are. They've really honed this 10-man, and the captains haven't seen it like this. So they're going to have to figure out exactly how they want to play. And it looks like they're trying to mix it up. They are working hard to the midfielders. We've seen the long shots, and defensemen beat offensive players. But they haven't been able to really capitalize on the clearing when they get it down there to take advantage of the Knights being out of position, Dallin 40 yards from the goal, and they haven't been able to capitalize on that. And in reality, nobody really has been able to take advantage of that. And I guess if it's going that way, let's keep it going.
Yeah, and the face-off wins definitely have a part in ground balls, which are tied at 11 right now, and that was a huge factor in the first game that the captains won the ground ball war 50-24, which you can't win games when the other team's getting twice as many ground balls as you are. So that's a good sign. Both teams have 8 turnovers, which is high for the Knights, but extremely high for the captains, who don't turn the ball over that much. So a lot of turnovers, pretty sloppy first quarter, but it was a fun one as we have a 4-3 first quarter. No goals by either team for over 7 minutes, which we don't see that very often in a Knights game.
And it was up and down the whole way. There was
Yes.
a lot the last 7 minutes were, fun to watch maybe, but certainly not the cleanest of lacrosse. But Adam, honestly, that's the lacrosse the Knights like playing. They want to turn it into a chaos game.
Yeah, that's a recipe for an upset, and this would be an upset.
For sure. It's a top 20 team.
Knights can beat the captains. I know beating these top 20 teams
that was a dirty check, man. Wow. That that's Luke Blunden, freshman out of Crozet, Woodbury Forest. So he comes out of
that was. Yeah, 56.
Oh, 56. No, you're right. That was Ryan. Boy, that was incredible.
He does. He's second in caused turnovers for the captains, just behind Phoenix.
What's cool about this captains team is it's filled. You look down their roster; it's filled with kids from a lot of dudes from the public schools of Virginia. And all across Virginia, Mikey Thompson really scours Virginia. You'll see it from Virginia Beach, which is like kind of a non-traditional lacrosse area. Oh, that's the second one where Chandler would probably want that back. He's going to try and make up for it here.
As there's a beautiful little fake spin, comes back to his left hand, shot just wide. But I agree, that's the second that Chandler would like to have back. Either way, Knights do retain possession and do have a fresh shot clock. As we see Sean Lamb's shot bounce just wide. More in this first quarter and a couple minutes of this second quarter than we have on the offensive end in quite some time, and he's looked pretty good, Coach.
Yeah, he's playing better in the last 3 games than we've seen him play. He's been dealing with a leg injury. I think that's healed up better for him. And we see that really nice fight. I love watching that between Max Wayne and Zach Daneman. They didn't send a slide that time, and now they're back in the zone. But that's a really passive zone. You don't want to.
That shot from Sean, you could tell he picked that corner and put it right where he wanted it. Unfortunately, it just goes off the orange and out of bounds, or back to him rather than in the goal. Went right to Zach, who takes another shot out of bounds. There's another unforced error, though, that has been an issue for the Knights, and ball's back with the captains.
This is trouble running into the double team.
Too with,
and they got 2 seconds to clear it over, and they make it. And there's the shot that you really don't want to see in a 10-man ride, where you're giving up a 20 or 30-yard shot. That's the chaos. You know, you're trying to create chaos, which they did. Knights got everything they wanted, but the thing is, Jack Cook, with his third really good ground ball, takes advantage. And then, you talked about one of the best players, Ryan Young, for one of their best defenders. He giving an outlet to Cook and then pushing that ball upfield and got to a great spot where the Knights were still in kind of the 10-man scenario. And it takes advantage of it.
As that's a
great check.
Another dirty. We've had 2.
What do we do? So this is a checking display right here. We've had that sweet over the head by Young. We got a little kind of backswing kayak type of situation from Carter Bean. And the ball's all over the place. Who knows what's going on?
Knights were unable to clear the ball.
Good man ball from the captains.
Yeah, and going back to that goal by the defenseman, we've now seen 2 goals for the captains of their 5 coming directly from the 10-man ride from defensemen. First, it was Aiden Fitzgerald, and then the second one, Ryan Young, and that is the first goal of the season for both of them. So.
Which will happen, right,
yeah.
In games like this. You're facing a 10-man. Everybody's going to be taking shots. The goalie's already taken 2.
Yeah, he actually, I believe it as that's just a beautiful shot there. That was Brady Altabello.
Leading point getter for the captains, and you see why. Put that thing in a soup can in that top corner. That's a heck of a shot. Going up against Carter Bean right there. So, and you can see like that, Brady, that's his first real kind of dodge. He may have played some attack in high school. I don't know, but you see he's really comfortable behind the cage because that shot right there, that's a very attack type shot where, you get up and you just swing those hips around, put it over your defenseman's shoulder. And he went near pipe on that, as I said, in a very small space, put it over Dallin's shoulder.
As there's a good back. Players converging on him for the ground ball, and we see a Knights player come up with it, but it's back on the ground. If they do come up with it, they're going to have to get it across quickly here. But it does come up. Should have been a reset there. They will reset it as Brad is able to come up with that ground ball.
Good patience by both Dallin. And then the miscue.
There's going to be a flag thrown for a slash, and it's not going to matter because they're going to score, and that is Jack Cook. Another long pole goal. Not Jack's first of the season, though.
No, as an LSM, Jack gets up and down. Look, between him, they may have the best LSM tandem in the country between Jack and Phoenix Hines. Those two really have been impressive. If it's not the best in the country, it's top 4 or 5. Those two are really good up and down.
And Knights are still going to be man down after that slash call on Thomas Reese. The captain's lead is now stretched to 4 after the 3 goals.
But that was off of that. The Knights worked really hard to get that ball, good patience on the back line to clear it, and then they've got everything they want, and they throw it away.
Yeah, and it looked like they just got casual. I think that's the turnovers that we've seen is hardworking, and then they get casual on the last one. As there's another good save by Hampshire, and
I'm not sure about that pass. It's going to be a turnover as soon as one of the captains touch it. But the Knights come up with it. Chandler would have been better off letting the Knights touch that or the ref call a dead ball there, because that was an over and back. Instead, he kind of picked it up and was standing in a double team.
Yeah, put himself in a really tough spot against a good defenseman, and captains are going to be able to get another shot while they're man up, but a good save.
Really nice find. Dallin throwing a couple fakes, but the captain's taking a page out of the Knights book and double teaming, waiting for that ball to come over. They're just the captains are taking. That is a really nice play from midfield, getting the ball up to Dylan Rice and a nice finish under duress. But the captains are taking advantage of, as you mentioned, the miscues of the Knights. Little turnover, and then they're capitalizing on all of it, which is what good teams do, right? If you want to play at this level, if you want to be a top 20 team, which the Knights did when they beat WNL, but they took advantage of I think the 10-man was a moment in there that had not been shown and as much, but they didn't have nearly as many miscues as we've seen in this second quarter, and all of a sudden you see the lead balloon to 5 because the Knights are turning the ball over, and the captains, who are a solid team, will take advantage of those. They will push the ball down your throat, which some teams, you'll face teams where you turn the ball over, and it's kind of like, okay, and they'll pull it out and da-da-da. But the captains will push this thing right back down your throat.
Yeah, and that's the second 4-goal run by the captains. As we saw early on in the game, it was 2 quick goals for the Knights and then a 4-goal run by the captains. The Knights are able to get one back, pull within 1, and now it's a 4-goal run for the captains again to go up by 5, as you mentioned, and this timeout called by Coach Lamb.
Adam, both teams already, 8 saves for Dallin, right? 7 saves for Zach Hanway. I mean, we're only halfway through the second quarter, and both these guys are on pace for a 20-save game. Like it's going to be an up and down game, but the Knights are not going to be able to stay with the captains if they're going to turn the ball over as much as they're turning it over.
Yeah, and that's a good point with Dallin already having 8 saves. This lead could be stretched out further if he hadn't made some of those saves. A few saves were popcorn saves, as we like to call them. As he likes to yell at you in practice.
What? But those man-up saves, he had 2 really strong man-up saves that were really impressive when he needed to step up and make a couple of those 12-yarders that were coming at him with nobody on the hands of the shooter. He's made some 2 or 3 really, really nice saves. Jaden Arnold wins the clamp on this, and now it's a scrum. And you feel good if you're the Knights whenever Nick Bear's on the wing.
He's in a tough spot as Jaden decided to run off, and it was 3 against 2, and Ty was late getting on. That makes it really hard, especially with a long pole.
Nick found him, but he'd put the ball in his left hand, and sometimes for a pole, those left-handed passes aren't necessarily the most accurate, and he put it out in front of Ty. And those defensemen, as we've seen, the defensemen for the captains are very athletic and very opportunistic.
As Ty's got stuck on defense here and is going to have to
And that's worked pretty hard. But he's only got 5 goals, so on the you feel pretty comfortable. Ty Veers is a good defender, very athletic. The Knights aren't necessarily afraid of this matchup.
Yeah, of all your offensive middies to get stuck on the defensive side of the field, Ty's probably going to be your first pick.
Right.
So he did a good job there, and captains are going to attack from up top as they've done so throughout this game so far.
Oh, Ty got cut on right there. They had made an exchange, and there wasn't really great communication from the team. Those interior players on the seal and the cut, and Ty got caught on the backside of that.
Six here with 7.5 minutes remaining here in this second quarter. That goal was scored by Jackson Deal, Jordan Lee on the assist.
You saw right there that Nick Bear was looking to help out, and Ty, if you're going to help the helper, you can't just be covering grass when you do that. You've got to kind of commit to that crease player. But Nick Bear slid up field a little bit there and got caught in no man's land. Either you're going to be on your man or you're going to be in a position to help out, and he kind of just got caught in the middle. He had an opportunity to jump. He could have jumped Jordan Lee, but just kind of let him play around a little. Smart find from Jordan.
As we again have a short stick here on Stockhausen, which is a tough matchup. Carter will slide early, deflect a pass.
Nice redodge with no help really available. The captain's moving the ball really. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now. The ball pops out of his stick, and Millington's there. Happy birthday.
Looked like Stockhausen wanted to shoot that one before he had even caught it, and just, as you mentioned, goes right in the stick of Seth Millington, and he'll get the ball down to the Knights offense. And good job by Eric Knorr using his body to keep that low pass from bouncing out of bounds.
Something this morning, I was helping out with the high school team this morning, and we talked about that exact thing. Just keep the ball in front of you. Really smart play by a young player. Tough matchup for Sean Lamb. I'm not sure how much you really want to, take on Phoenix Hines. I mean, that young man's played a lot of lacrosse against some very good players.
And that's going to be
off the captains. I think it's going to be a nice ball. Dallin got run over for his troubles by his own teammate, but the captain's trying to force that ball. Not necessarily a bad look because that you're going to the guy that's being covered by the goalie, but Dallin's up to the play. That was awesome.
Another good clear there by Dallin as well. Able to beat the 60-second shot clock that they have to get across the midline. And there's Tenney.
Oh.
Looks like it just
we got an interesting opportunity here for the captains where he was being so right there. That's you live by the sword, die by the sword, right? And the Knights, as opposed to the last situation where they really had each individual shut off on their captain's offensive side, that was one where the Knights were a little out of sorts, didn't have everybody shut off right. Early outlet. The interesting thing is you watch the Knights be kind of into this 10-man the way they play it. They're into it right away, and that early outlet was a killer for the Knights because now you're trying to figure out what to do. Seth's playing one-on-one instead of a double team as it comes over. But the back cut on Brad, Brad's trying to front it, and the back cut really gets him in trouble as he's trying to front that man.
That's going to be the third face-off violation of the half, which is going to be a penalty.
I don't think that was the Knights' third face-off violation.
Yeah, Nick had one. There were two in the first quarter. Nick and Jaden both had one.
All right.
But it looks like, I believe, that's what I thought when they called it, it was on the captains,
Right.
not on the Knights.
Right,
but
right.
then our
Everybody
man down was on the
confused.
field. So either way, both teams were at two. So whoever it was,
Flag's going to go in the air no matter what, and then we'll sort it out later. All right.
and they are able to do that. And the Knights are going to be man up for the first time of this game, and will just be a 30-second penalty. And
Zach Daneman choosing to play 4-on-5 instead of 5-on-6.
Sean Lamb's able to get to the middle of the field and find Eric Knorr, who really has become a mainstay, not only on the first line, midline, but he's the leading scorer for the Knights on man up.
He's been able to take advantage of some really great passing. And what happened there was as Sean carried up, nobody played him, and he was able to survey, and then quick pass. The captains had to play from the backside. They covered the crease in kind of like a.
And we've seen a couple teams do that to the Knights, shutting off, whether that's Daneman, Veers. We've even seen Chandler get shut off a few times.
The thing is, their man-up's not so potent that you probably have to do that. They don't have country's best man-up percentage.
Exactly, and when you do that, they've actually looked better when they're playing that 4-on-5 rather than 6-on-5, just because there's more space, as we both know. They are able to capitalize, and that's a big goal for the Knights, trying to get some momentum back heading into halftime as we have 4 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Captain's still up 10-4. Good little hitch there from Tenney as players slipped, as we have the rain was coming down for a minute. Got a lot of umbrellas out in the stands here, but looks like it might have stopped as the captains are back in the zone.
So you'll see the Knights try to dodge this a little bit, rotate, move the ball again. You know, it's dodge, force a rotation, pass, and then kind of re-dodge. And Knights still staying in a lot of pick from the crease. Good job getting their sticks in the hands of Sean Lamb there. What a great find by Tenney and a great cut by Chandler, but the connection just not able to be there. Chandler hustling from the back procedure, playing the ball out of bounds, maybe?
Yeah, I think he was out of bounds when he – just great hustle there by Chandler, making up for his mistake.
Hey, that hustle, I don't know that I've seen him run that fast. I mean, he was like I think he was mad that he had missed that ball. He's like, you know, I can't let him get this ball back.
Yeah,
that was great.
That pass did have some heat on it from Ty, but still Chandler would want that one back, but makes up for it, gets a nice another offensive possession, fresh shot clock. Captains continue to stay in the zone.
Good shot by Tenney. He faded down on that, and so it was a little confusing between the wing midfielder and the low, the short stick, and then the low defender. We're not quite sure who should pick up Tenney, and that resulted in a really nice shot by Tennyson. Maybe 8 yards away at the hash. That's a good shot to take.
Goes just high, and we will have a timeout here called by the captains. As again, we have 2 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in this first half of play. Captains leading 10-4. And what this possession, coach? But in this remaining just a little under 3 minutes here, to keep the momentum and try to get with at least in 5, hopefully 4 goals heading into halftime.
Well, you know, you got to get first as they come out. You got to identify: are they playing against the zone? Are they playing against a man-to-man? And and coach will talk about what we're going to do in both scenarios. And they feel like they have a good game plan against this zone. They're getting good shots. They're going up against a good goalie. So, it's going to be like, how quick can we move the ball versus how quick can the captains rotate and communicate through that zone to know who's going to pick up who. The real question comes, though, in the next, 2.5 minutes, can the Knights keep the ball in their sticks without giving up easy turnovers? Can they get organized in their 10-man? I mean, how many goals resulted now of the 10-man? 3, maybe 4? At least 3 that are directly result of poor organization in the 10-man or just being outworked or outplayed.
I think 4, because we've had 3 long pole goals and then the one where they just outletted pass and then an easy goal with Dallin not engaged. So 4 for sure.
Take those away, right? Take those goals away. That 10-man, and this game feels like the game does not feel like 4-10 in terms of how it's being played in 6-on-6. But the transition stuff that the Knights are giving up, and that shot right there, I mean, that's a great shot for the Knights. That's Ty Veers at 10 yards. That's what they want. They're getting good stuff on the offensive end. They've just got to stop turning the ball over and be organized, and it will be more of a 4-6 style game in terms of score and score differential.
That pass just a little. Penalty here.
I mean, this is the first dodge we've had out of Danneman in like a real dodge in feels like 10 minutes, right?
He has not touched the ball. Even in man up because they were shutting him off, so it has been a long time. And
I mean, this is really the conundrum the Knights have faced in terms of playing at this level, whether it was Colorado College or Washington Lee. How can we play quick and cause chaos for the other team and not have that chaos from our own turnovers and stay organized and on the defensive end? It's just that they haven't quite been able to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, even though individually there's a lot there.
Again, captains are going to go ahead and shut off Zach Danneman and play the 5-on-4, resulting in a good shot there by Ty, just Ty. They'll set up again, and
they're going to be able to find Chandler coming on and off the crease right here if they keep their heads up.
And they do find him. That pass might have been a little forced there from Tenney, but he's able to get the ground ball, finds Eric. Eric going down to the ground, finds the back of the net, stayed out of the crease, and is called a goal. His second man-up goal of the game, and that's a hat trick for Eric.
That one's really created, though, by Tenney. He owes Tenney maybe a burrito from the dining hall, from Dorado's. Go at the very least, chips and queso. If you had the chips and queso, they're fantastic.
I have. They are.
So Tenney, on the chaos of that ground ball, fight for it, pops in the air. Tenney attacks the ground ball, and a quick pass results in a good opportunity for Eric, and he capitalizes.
Now it's going to be another penalty as we have another face-off violation. This time it was Cole Evans, sophomore from Chestertown, Maryland, going to be called there, and 2 for 2 on man up so far for the Knights. Not a bad spot to have your third man up opportunity of the day. Down 5, looking to get one more goal here before halftime. Cut this deficit down to 4.
Yeah, at 9-3 and 9-4, the Knights just were feeling out of sorts. These last 2 man up scenarios have really helped them out.
And again, the captains are going to shut off Danneman up top. And that
what a great nugget.
Yeah,
that's Young coming up big again.
But there's a good tip there by Seth Millington. He's able to put the ball on the ground.
4 situation, 5-on-3 if they can.
By Sean Lamb just stings the corner.
That's his best
goal. I think the penalty had been released by 1 or 2 seconds, but that credit goes to Seth Millington there with the nugget, knocking that ball down. Not only knocking it down, but getting the ground ball and then starting the fast break with Sean, and then Sean just with a beautiful shot, best shot of the year.
Yeah, location-wise, low to high, really making the goalie work, having to work for it, and comes up big when the Knights need it.
And that. Hanway's a good goalie, as you mentioned. He didn't see that one. He did not know that was going to go right next to his ear near pipe. Penalty flag is down on the field, and that's a good pass by Hanway, able to find Rice, and he's going to find the back of the net.
So I don't know if you saw that, but that was a little bit of quarterbacking from the goalie. Hanway gives a little nod down to the attackman. Number 6, Dylan Rice, who's always going to be a good target. And he had the goalie on him. He had Dallin Hampshire on him. And that was a little bit of a spot feed. You cut, I'm going to throw it to where you're supposed to be. It could have ended up being a goal right away. Rice wasn't able to handle it cleanly. But then fights hard, gets the ball back, comes up underneath the defenseman, and now he's shooting on an open goal. What we call that, the 5th goal resulting out of the 10-man ride. I'm not sure if risk-reward right now is coming up big because they certainly don't have 5 goals or 6 goals to matching that with the goals they're giving up.
And that was and is just instead you give up a goal, have a penalty. Captains are going to start with the ball here in the second half. In the past 4 or 5 minutes is gone. All back to the captains. Really tough 30 seconds of play there.
But the thing that you can look at, if you go in, you're Coach Lamb and you're going in, hey guys, we can play here, right? There's no doubt that you feel like you can play with the captains. You got to feel that way after both of these quarters. You feel like that offensively you can create. You feel like defensively you can stop them. Really what they're going to have to do is decide, how are we going to continue to play in the transition in the second half. And the hard part is, you have a certain mentality when you're playing in a 10-man. And that's become their DNA. And so if you step out of that, what does that do for your mentality overall? Are you able to still be aggressive and really bring the same kind of intensity when you back out of your normal flow? And that's the balance or the decision that Coach Lamb and Coach Maxfield are going to have to make coming out of halftime.
And we will be willing to see what the Knights do in the second half, but we will take a break along with both teams here at halftime with the captains leading 11-6, and we will be back shortly here on the Knight Sports Network. welcome back to the fields at Knight Stadium for the second half of this men's lacrosse matchup between the captains of Christopher Newport University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. We had a pretty interesting first half that the captains were able to take a halftime lead 11-6. If you're just watching the game, seems a lot confirm that.
Right. Shots on goal, 19-13, saves 8-7. Face-offs are even, ground balls, 3 differential, clear. So this is the interesting thing, though. The captains are 9 of 13 clearing the ball, which you don't like if you're Mikey Thompson. But the Knights are 8 of 14, and they're not getting 10-manned. Right? They're turning the ball over without having really being forced to face a difficult situation, whereas the Knights are having to just work in 10-man to get the ball turned over in the clear against the captains. But out of that scenario, I think you and I agree probably 5 goals as a result of the 10-man. So and then they're not keeping up. They're not scoring off of that chaos. The Knights are not. So the captains are doing a great job. They've really game planned well for the 10-man. That clearly, because they're scoring off it, they're pushing it. And now the Knights come in man down off of that slash JT with 20 seconds left in the man up. Great rotation. We call that cracking the whip. Pass, pass, pass. Hit the last man and snap the whip. That was really great. Passing from the captains and good defense from the Knights as well. What a great nugget.
That was a beautiful job there by Nick.
The captains are not in a 10-man. They're just riding hard. The Knights getting all they want on the field, and then Sean's just going to take this. He needs to look up and find one more, and the Knights have an opportunity here.
Almost another turnover there, but Chandler Westcott had the backup there. First offensive possession for the Knights of this second half.
Fun matchup there to watch. 2 really good players going after each other. Sean's got the LSM. Hines.
Sean just
nice.
Running through the defense there, and that shot.
A great back check at the last millisecond from Aiden Fitzgerald.
Broke his stick as well, Sean, on that one.
Well, you get back checked and you lose your stick. 20 seconds left in the shot clock. So it's so funny watching teams slide to Danneman because you never know, is he going to go left or right and you see the slide coming and he's trying to figure out, do I go to the left side or go to the right side? And then that's kind of a force. He had to, just 10 seconds left. Ball does cross over even though Millington kicks it at the last minute.
Pretty smart there by Seth, actually. Instead of giving up an opportunity for a fast break, which they give up anyway because the Knights are unable to set up. That shot, fortunately for the Knights, goes just high. Just as I was mentioning, something they did good, then they...
They're man down right here, and the captains take advantage. Knights got beat in the sub game right there, trying to bring 2 men on at the end. And it was kind of a 6-on-5 scenario.
Really, I think it was 6-on-4.
Yeah, 6-on-4.
Both of the D middies. Well, really, it starts with the O middies who tried to get off after the shot, which you can't do unless you're following someone when no one came off, and put the defense in a really tough spot. And that's a goal for the captains, and they now lead 12-6. That goal was by
that was number 22 for the captains. Their attackman, Alex Brendes.
Assist goes to Kobe Oslander. And Captains are going to have another offensive possession here.
These are frustrating games for a coaching staff when you're on the losing end of these things, where it's not really necessarily the skill and talent level. It's kind of more of the overall maturity and who's able to play with more composure and take care of the ball a little bit better. Though I do think this is the first team that's really exposed the risk of the 10-man that the Knights have played. Has a nice jump by Seth Millington. Better play by the Captains to keep that ball alive and reset. Really great pass out of that jump from the attackman. From the midfielder.
Another good slide there by Jake Glam.
What a look off.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So that look off from Robbie Adams. And then they have, playing wall ball off the pipe. Great handles to catch that thing off of the bounce from the pipe.
Yeah, a senior from Richmond, Virginia.
The Captains did a great job of moving that ball out of double teams, and when Deal caught that ball, that was really impressive, and then he backhanded it into the goal off of the bounce.
And I was just going to say that was probably the best defensive possession that the Knights had. They played well defensively, and it was just better offense by the Captains. And we're going to have Jaden won the face-off and then got tripped coming out of it, but not going to call a penalty.
Loose ball. They're going to call a push. Technical violation on a loose ball goes over the Knights. And that ground ball is, the Knights, again, not taking care of it, but Seth Millington able to be in the middle of the field and really working to get on. And the Knights careless again.
Now we're going to have a goal from a 30-yard shot there.
Griffin Haynes, a senior from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, takes advantage of the open goal that the Knights had. The Knights had that ball in a nice scenario, and Sean, they were going to have maybe a 3-on-2 kind of transition coming down from the midfield into the attack, but again, you see I think it was Max that intercepted that. Max Wayne, 33. You see the athleticism of the Captain's poles. And that's a Jaden Arnold goal right there. It's good to see that he's had some struggles through the last half of the season. That was really tough because he had to get that ball in his stick and out of his stick right away because that defenseman was waiting for him and kind of crushed him, knocked him down, put him down, and he's back to the face-off X, do it all over again.
Yeah, and he's fired up. You saw him pointing to the sideline there, trying to get the sideline fired up. We can hear up here in the booth the Captain's sideline, especially when the Knights have the ball. They are cheering on their defense. They're fired up, and really the Knights need some help from their sideline and fans here even as well as.
Yeah, you look over at the Captain's sidelines. I mean, Coach Thompson and his staff are doing a great job. They have all of 55 players on this team. I mean, it is a large bench. They've got they're doing a great job of recruiting Virginia and then finding spots, outside. And this is going to be a team they're going to have some longevity in their play in terms of being good for a long time because of not only cross depth.
And that's going to be an easy goal on the doorstep. Throwing 4 or 5 fakes there, and really got to be frustrating there if you're Dallin, as everyone just watched. Everyone watched Stockhausen throw the 4 fakes right on crease, and frustrating to see as a friend of Dallin and a fan of the team that just tough to see there, leaving Dallin on an island.
Yeah, you don't like that as a defense. That's demoralizing. So one of the things as a defensive coach that you look for is intensity of play. You want your players to play on the defensive end with passion. Offense is about ball movement and spacing, a little more finesse. Defense is about passion and effort and toughness. Even in some ways, like you need them to want collisions and violence and to cause pain. And those scenarios right there is that's the antithesis of that mindset where somebody's able to throw 4 fakes on your goalie. And so you're looking for what can you do to reset that? Who's going to bring the intensity? You need leadership. You're looking down at those 4 men on the other side, Dallin, Hampshire, Seth Millington, Jake Lamb. Jake's a senior. Dallin's a senior. These are guys, this is their last home game. We've got 7 seniors that this is their last home game. Trey Withers is a defenseman. Isaac DeJarlis, Nick Bear is a defenseman. Then you have Chandler Westcott and Sean Lamb as kind of rounding out those seniors. But there's a lot of senior players on that defensive side. Who's going to step up and bring some intensity? You're down by 8. Can you come back? You have the offense to do it. We've got to, you got to buckle down on the defensive end. Offense can't turn the ball over.
And that's a good. Fortunate there for Ty Veers as that shot is taken, and backup should be given to Jake Lamb there, and he will be rewarded for his hustle there. And
Jake Cook with a great ground ball on the crease for the captains. And then a nice find. But, wow, a sandwich.
Yeah, really. I mean, not Jake's fault in laying him out to dry there. And we're going to have some extracurricular activity with 2 flags down on the ground. The penalty had just released, and that's why they were able to double team there with Ben coming on the field.
Thing is, you're not supposed to be able to come on the field and do that. You can't come on the field and play the ball. And that's what Coach Lamb is like. That guy came on. You're not allowed to come into the play and be involved in the action of the play coming in out of a penalty situation. And, it's unfortunate that then results in I think that's Toffeletti, right?
Yeah.
It's down.
Yeah.
And that situation is not allowed to happen. And Coach Lamb is, begging the refs. And I don't know if the refs really understood the situation. But that's what you saw Jake Lamb kind of at the end of that. That's a frustrating situation for a team to see. And Jake didn't really, he fell on the guy. He just kind of pushed him. It wasn't any kind of big collision. And Jake was like, I just fell on him. Nothing really big there. But they're going to call a push on. No, they're giving Jake a full minute. I don't know how that's a full minute. I think he just pushed him from behind and then fell on him. Maybe they're calling him for an extracurricular. And then I think there's a second because Tenney's going to be in the box. Tennyson Schmidt's in the box, and I assume he's the in-home.
Yes.
So they probably have a bench violation.
Yeah, well, Coach Lamb was on the field way before play was flown. Obviously wants to protect his player there with Ben on the ground. As you mentioned, that it was unfortunate for Jake Lamb. We've seen Jake Lamb have some kind of inexplicable penalties throughout his career. This one definitely was not. He hit the player. It was a clean hit and just happened to fall on him. Really unfortunate that there's even a penalty called. Either
Captain's
way.
moving that ball really well.
Yep, and they capitalized there.
Well-coached team. I mean, you can tell, Coach Thompson knows what good offense looks like. I was up there in Charlottesville with that team at UVA when Mikey Thompson was there, and Coach Van Arsdale, who coached Mikey Thompson, who's now coaching at Loyola, really was great at developing offensive players and offensive systems. And Coach Thompson has really benefited from his tutelage underneath that, and you see them. I mean, they move that ball so well.
Jaden had won that clamp there, but good work after the face-off by Michael Brost, sophomore midfielder from Richmond, able to get the ground ball. Michael plans to go into sports journalism after his time in a captain's uniform.
Good job. I think they're going to call in the crease on that. Good defense from the Knights. Probably a bit of a force there from Jordan Lee.
The Knights are down 9 third quarter.
Came into this quarter pretty even in terms of stats, but that's kind of turned around in terms of ground balls and turnovers. The Knights have definitely had been on the negative side of both those categories.
And exactly the opposite of what you need when you were already down 5 goals trying to make a comeback here. Sean Lamb somehow spins
and splits the triple team.
Yeah, good job there. Able to get a shot off. Back up by Eric Knorr.
Knorr did a great job of drawing the double. Now he's just got to figure out. And I mean, the problem was the Knights didn't have great movement and spacing off ball when that double team came.
That's just great defense there. And that's, again, Max Wayne, preseason All-American for the captains. Tenney laying it all out on the line there.
Yeah, it's a great play. You have Seth Milligan doing his best goalie impersonation, jumping out there.
And
great
job.
Look off.
Yeah.
Tenney looks to his right like he's going to throw that ball. Goalie takes a half step that way, and then Tenney slides it near pipe. Very deceptive shot, and a good part of shooting. Good shooters know how to be deceptive, but that thing starts with a really poor shot from Phoenix Hines. He did a great job clearing, and then he's just got to swing away. Like, he just kind of tried to place that ball. He was more worried about scoring it and getting it in the cage than he was about just getting the shot off and then getting the backup. And that's how you have to play the 10-man. You can't take a 2-bouncer because, Seth jumps in front, grabs the ball, and it's then pushed right down your throat the other way. The second ground ball or clamp that he's won, but unable to come up with the ground ball. Fortunately, you have he had Nick Bear on the wing, and Nick will come up with a lot of. So the Knights not working down low off of this situation, but able to get the ball off.
That's Zach. Good passing there. Recovery there by Brad.
Zach Sullivan's a freshman. Boy, that's a dangerous situation if you're the Knights. Way to take advantage of just playing 2-on-2 lacrosse. That's good stuff from the captains. Zach Sullivan, a freshman, working himself into getting some playing time. Out of California, has been able to, he's a really good kind of offensive player, and there he's, working himself into the clear and just working for playing time. You like to see the young guys just get on the field, opportunities.
The captains have 35 seconds remaining on the shot clock, but it will reset after that shot from Brady Altabello.
Nice save. Dallin had to come down across his hip to get that off-stick bouncer. Solid one-on-one play from Seth Millington. And really great play. They're going to call him for a cross-check. I don't know, man. This is, high school, that's definitely a cross-check. But this is college lacrosse. And I know it's not box, but you're allowed, if that punch has any hand on him at all, if there is any hand on the player at all, it's not a cross-check.
Another great save there by Dallin. And
they just need to kick the ball out, get it out of play.
Yeah, I agree. That's not only is this college lacrosse, but in one of the best conferences in Division III. This is high level.
And falls down. That's just Seth Millington was calling for that rotation. He saw it coming, and Dallin now gets himself in trouble by coming out to a double team.
Whistle was blown, but the captain's player picked it up and tried to throw it in the net, hit the post.
Crazy. What are they calling? A push? What are they? And they're giving the ball back to the captains. Still man down for 2 seconds.
Another save there by Dallin.
Pass, but Robbie Adams able to track it down, and the Knights are all even. Killed the penalty, but you still got to play some defense. Great two great saves from Hampshire in that scenario.
Yeah, Dallin now has 13 saves on the day.
Great way to suck up that shot. And they're going to call Jacob Lamb and Will Stockhausen were fighting right there in terms of for the ground ball. Ball was on the ground after Jake had taken that shot off his stick. And they're going to call Will for a hold. Loose ball goes over the Knights, and see if they can create some positivity in this offense here. Like, you're just looking for some good play to get yourself in a situation where you feel like you can string together 2 or 3 goals.
Going back to that push, Jake does need to be careful. Already has the 1 penalty called against him, and that was the second time in that same possession that there was some extracurricular activities after the ball was away. So next time might be called on him.
I love the physicality he's bringing, though. You want that out of your defense. You just want it during the course of play instead of after the course of play. Which, he was fighting to keep Will off the ground ball. I mean, I liked everything about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice find.
That's going to be a reset of the shot clock after Ty hits the post, and that's 3 posts for Ty so far in this game. If even 2 of those go in, and that's a big difference, as Tenney does a wonderful job on the ground finding his teammate in Zach Daneman, who's able to find the back of the net.
When you've got Burke Widhelm banging on you with that cross check, right? And he's pushing and he's pushing. He's a 200-pound, 6'2" junior. And Tenney is all of 165 pounds. That he stood up to that check. Once he went down, though, just having the wherewithal to be able to find Daneman, and Daneman finishes with a sneaky underhand worm burner.
Again, Jaden able to win that face-off forward. Battle on the ground, and captains again able to come up with it. This time, Jared Cook.
Great checks from Nick Bear against Cook, who still comes up with the ground ball.
Has a few
Getting
face
double
dodges
teamed.
in
He's just
there.
begging for some help somewhere. Man.
Second goal of the day, and it is his parents' anniversary today, and I was asked by Mr. Daneman to give a shout out to his beautiful wife, who was unable to make it to the game today and is back in Georgia. So shout out to Mrs. Daneman and happy anniversary to the Danemans.
There we go. They're calling a push on that. See if I think that was possession right there. They should have blown the whistle.
They do blow the whistle there.
Not the pass. Corral it and then draw the penalty on the push.
Yeah, did a good job there. Give the Knights another extra man opportunity, and what they've been successful today.
The captains have a really solid ride. Their attackmen work hard. They work hard in the middle of the field. The defensemen are very opportunistic. They're a good riding team.
As the captains are going to stick with their 5-on-4 approach, and it works out for them. A little bit of a forced pass there by Eric. And the shot is going to be taken just over the goal there, but Jake Lamb is again able to win the backup.
It finishes right behind the cage. I mean, that ball went out. The angle on that thing was just off.
Yeah, bounced just barely over the goal. And
the clock runs down to double zeros for the quarter. So 7-goal deficit going into this third quarter, Adam. It's they were down by 5. They go down by 2. The captains mainly taking advantage of kind of squirrely situations. Area where you give up 5 goals in the quarter, but a lot of it's coming out of just chaos, and normally the Knights in the last few games have been able to do really well with that chaos and come out on the positive end. But the captains are a different level of lacrosse team, and they're the ones that are coming out on top of in the chaos situations.
Yeah, and those 3 quick goals to start the second half really kind of shut down any momentum and any hopes of a comeback that the Knights had here. 3 quick goals to go down 8, and Knights were able to claw their way back in, get 3 goals of their own, but going into this fourth quarter, down 7, 16-9. But what we can tell you is that this game is going to be higher scoring than the first matchup.
We're already 3 over, right, in total goals.
Exactly. Knights eclipsed their 6-goal game in the first matchup between these two teams. Captains are right at their 16, so they will definitely beat that mark as well.
The Knights now have 24 turnovers to 19 for CNU. Ground balls are even, and face-offs are even. But the captains are playing more offense because the Knights are turning the ball over now more than the captains are. Therefore, 29 shots on goal to 18 for the Knights.
And that shot by Michael Brost is just wide. Showing off his quickness there, though, as he wins a face-off and runs right down Main Street. Captains will have the first.
Dallins, he's had a good game. He's up to 15 saves. A lot of these goals, these 16 goals, are not, really his fault in terms of, he's just not making the save. For like 3 of them, he wasn't even in the cage. Dallin got into theological school at graduate school at Duke. He's headed down to be a Blue Devil. Really, really smart young man. Looking forward to his future.
Gonna
Goal waved off.
Yeah, off the goal there. And a good job there by JT. Not necessarily he got beat on the dodge. Discussion of a push there.
Right.
Kind of a good recovery.
Nice play by Seth and Carter Bean to just finish out that clear.
Really the first time we've seen the Knights look comfortable in a clear, which is something that we haven't seen all year. Clearing is one of their strengths. They've been pretty good. But today, just kind of out of sorts. And I think a lot of that credit has to go to the captain's right, as you were mentioning, the attackmen and midfielders working hard.
The triple team, including the goalie on Danneman. The captain's able to recover, and Danneman gets in close, but matching his stick is the goalie, and that's a great save. Oh, they're going to call a push on the Knights right there. I'm not sure, but right into the arms of Seth Millington is.
That time it was Trayson Withers.
You're right. It was Trayson.
Did a great job there. Forced just the captain's player to just huck it, and he does, and the captains are able to come up with it.
Hayden Wheeler did a great job of tracking that ball down.
Yeah, kind of the day it's been for them, and now Dallin's forced to run in, and that's a good move and a good finish there.
Yeah, that was a really great move from Cody Oslander. He did a little hitch and got up top of the defender, and Dallin was screaming in from about 30 yards away to get to the cage and did get in just in time, but it's basically a one-on-one with the goalie right there after that hitch. He and his wife and planning on heading down to North Carolina in the fall. I'm looking forward to hearing more about his future exploits. Nick Baer with the ground ball, who's headed a PhD biochemistry program at Brigham Young University. Chandler Westcott is actually doing, one of our seniors doing a marketing internship at SVU, going to take a year or two working here before he decides to either go to graduate school or find kind of other opportunities. A really great chance for him. Learn the ins and outs of sports marketing.
It's Isaac doing a good job beating his man there, able to get off a shot.
Chandler, the aforementioned Chandler, backing it up, and let's see if the Knights can get this score to double digits.
So we have Andrew Moody with the ball. It's a bounce shot there by Connor Hackey.
So it's interesting. You've got Sullivan and Moody. This is the first time I've seen them on the field at the same time in this in a second line. Maybe you call this a third line midfield, along with Connor Hackey. Sir Zach's parents are watching back in California. Andrew Moody's mother, Denise, was on campus last week with Andrew's brother, Jason, as I mentioned.
Tenny working hard.
Wow.
Just great work there.
I'm not sure.
By Aiden Fitzgerald.
Hey, that's the second time we've seen some really cool play from Aiden, and now he's sitting up top waiting for a step down. And Dallin makes the save. He went to run off and looked around, saw nobody cover him, and said, hey, one more. He calls for the one more.
Captains will set up their offense here. Again, leading by 8 with
JT. He's going to have to be really physical here.
Doing a good job.
Yeah.
Really played great defense all day today, coming off probably his best game so far. And there's another nugget by Nick.
A little toe drag, a nugget to a toe drag. Jake should look to the midfield, and they do. They have opportunities with JT right here, 4-on-4.
JT needs to be careful.
Good ground by Carter Bean, but check out of his stick, and I think they're going to call over and back. Yep, that's the call. Great check. I think it was was that not the LSM Phoenix Hines on that check right there?
I believe so.
Yeah, they're impressive. Phoenix and his compadre Jack Cook do a great job in transition, both offensively and defensively.
He is first all-time in captain history with 119 caused turnovers coming into today, as that's a save by Dallin. He's also 8th all-time in ground balls in captain's history with 154, hoping to move up that list as well.
Well, he better keep at it because, he's got – they've recruited some really good defensemen. That was a forced pass right there from Dallin. But the captains returned the favor.
And another behind the back. That's the second time in 2 games we've seen Isaac with the behind the back. Actually got a shout out on Instagram from U.S. Lacrosse magazine, put it on their story.
Well, that was a film by Kiwi Giroux, who a former Knight defender and an excellent videographer, a sports videographer working at BYU currently, worked for the PLL. Kiwi does incredible work. If you get a chance, you can see some of the work that Kiwi did along with the Gowdy brothers. If you go to Gowdy Brothers, Google Gowdy Brothers on YouTube, you'll see from the 2019 and 18 seasons, I think, but definitely 2019 season, some incredible videography and some of the best lacrosse videos in terms of game videos that I've ever seen.
As Carter Bean was able to complete that clear, double comes right out of the box, and this time a flag will be thrown. Not quite sure what they're going to call on that one.
I think they're going to call. Yeah, penalties waved off. Calling a push. I think that's a soft flag as well. I'm not sure that should have been a flag. But we're 80 yards away from the play, and the ref was right behind it. But Sean says we don't need no stinking man up, and goes ahead and puts the ball in the back of the cage all by himself.
And that is Sean's second goal of the day.
He's shooting really well.
He is. He has 2 assists as well, leading the team in points right now, along with Tennyson, who has 1 goal and 3 assists. And there's a good face-off win by Jaden, starting the fast break. Able to find Chandler, makes a man fall. Shot just wide, though. And Zach Daneman will have the backup. As the Knights are down 7 with just over 7.5 minutes remaining here. And again, one of those shots that Chandler probably would like to have back was about 7 or 8 yards in the middle of the field, just unable to convert. Really hasn't been his day, but got to give it up to him for continuing to work hard and be a part of the offense.
Yeah, I mean, he did everything right there. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to increase your angle, get up high, 8-yard shot. Wow, that is just, that was we used to see a lot of stuff like that from Sean Lamb, 2 years ago when he was an attackman. He would really play like that. He would dive. He was very athletic in his play, and that's some old school Sean Lamb stuff that is nice to see. I loved how he would play the game. He plays with so much effort, and he's not afraid of getting hit.
No, effort and passion is probably the other word I would use as he completes his hat trick on senior night. As I mentioned before, adding 2 assists for 5 points, leading the team, and going to have another. Nick is able to get the ground ball. Knights are going to have possession again, but in a tough spot here, double teaming Nick, doing all he can, but Coach Lamb's going to bail him out with a timeout there.
Yeah, very good
great
timeout. Nick needed that. The attackmen weren't really able to get open for him, and his other 2 teammates on the faceoff, which is really what he needed to do, was be able to roll out of that or just throw the ball over his head. But his teammates were not there for him. They needed to be, yelling loud, like here, back here, and they couldn't. I mean, if they were yelling, if Jaden was yelling at him, or JT coming in behind him, Nick couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
And sometimes as a defenseman in those scenarios, you just do whatever you can. You'll throw the ball over your head, you'll backhand it, go behind the back, whatever, just to get that ball out to space where you know somebody's waiting.
Yeah, good timeout though by Coach Lamb here. Get the offense set up. They are only down 6 here with 7 minutes remaining. And a big part of that is due to the work on the faceoff, both with Jaden, who's been winning some clamps, but also the wings, especially Nick Bear, just coming up with some ground balls. It's been a couple minutes since we've had the captains have an offensive possession, and that's one way to keep a team off the scoreboard is not letting them have the ball. And this offensive possession is huge for the Knights here, trying to cut into that deficit even more.
Right, because, you get it, Lacrosse, make it, take it. You have an opportunity to close the gap. It's not out of reach by any stretch, but you need a goal or 2 here and holding the captains to 17. The captains are going to try and seal this thing away with some solid defense.
Tenney was open there. Good shot and a good save there by Andrew Clark, who's now in goal. Senior from Chester Springs, Pennsylvania.
Steps on the line and gives the ball back. But, the Knights had the chance to have 2 guys on that ball or make it a 2-on-2, and both captains were first to the ball. But then the gritty play to force them out of bounds to get the ball back and a reset shot clock. But the Knights are not going to take advantage of a 80-second shot clock. They're going to go right away.
Yeah, especially being in the spot that they are. And Ty shot goes high, and there's no backup for the Knights. Another player for the Knights kind of having an off day, which is really tough when 2 of your top 4 offensive players are having a tough on Brad, who was not 5 yards away when play started, who's really gotten in the habit of doing that this year, not quite knowing space on the field, has been called for it a couple times, and really tough call, especially as the Knights were going to have a fast break.
Well, so he needs to take 2 steps back. The hard part there is that he knows he has no goalie. The goalie was 40 yards from the cage, and he's trying to get up and be like, I got to slow this thing down. And on that, and just, he needs to take 2 steps back before he plays aggressive.
And that's another save for Dallin, trying to start the break and just didn't quite lead it enough. But when you have the ground ball master Nick Bear with the little flick to Zach, finds Tenney finishes bottom right corner, and just like that, a man down goal for the Knights. Really just great work from Nick Bear.
Yeah, Dallin throwing that ball up became basically a 50-50 ball when he and Jake couldn't really connect. But don't for a second think that flick was an accident. I'm not saying but
no.
I mean, that way you said it just right. Like, he put that ball down, he looked up, and he put that. I mean, that was an incredible play by Nick Bear and a great finish between Danneman and Tenney to put the ball in the back of the net.
And that is a face-off win for the Captains, but it goes all the way back to the box, right to Chandler. Unfortunately, not able to come up with it. And that was a huge ground ball for Phoenix Hines there. And that shot.
Yeah, sneaky ground ball. Like he grabbed that. He had one shot because if he didn't get it, Nick was going to get it. And he did a great job coming up with the one-time ground ball.
Yeah, really.
So up by 5. And I think it looks like you'll see the Captains put a little bit of time on this offense. I mean, you can't go all slow.
Somehow that was Stockhausen ends up with the ball. And
Timeout.
They're going to call timeout.
So the Captains there, this situation, you're up by 5 minutes left, 4:46. How much time do you want to take off? Like, how slow do you want to play without, kind of drawing your offense into a lethargic situation? A lot of coaches really will just keep kind of playing normal stuff right now. But, when you're at a 12-17 game, those are a lot of goals. It's not like this is 7-8. And goals are hard to come by. So, you still feel, if you're Coach Thompson, that you're in a situation where you have to maintain control of the ball. You'll take 80 seconds a couple times and feel like you're in control, right?
Yeah, and I think you perfectly put there, Coach, with lethargic. That's just kind of how the Captains have looked when they've had the ball this fourth quarter. They haven't had the ball much, but when they have, just like we saw, passes not being caught, going off their stick, shots going right to Dallin. And
you're not seeing the dodging that you saw in the first half.
Exactly.
Right? You're not seeing Dylan Rice work the way he did in the first half with the ball. You're not seeing the carry and the dodging from Will Stockhausen. They're just not working with the ball as hard as they did in the first half. They feel like they're looking for the pass. Knight's going to a play it just right and put the ball on the ground, but Brad's man, Brad Gardner, lost track of Dylan Rice for just a split second, and Dylan's able to capitalize.
Nick didn't know the ball was on the ground, or he would have had that one in his stick. Kept playing the man. It got exactly what they wanted there. Caused the turnover, got the ball on the ground. Nick just didn't know it was there right behind him. And as you mentioned, Brad just getting outworked by Dylan Rice there.
It's a tough situation because you have to shut off.
Yeah.
You have to shut off Dylan. So Brad's shutting off Dylan, and Dylan's a quick player.
Yeah.
He's not an outlet for the double team. And we see two captains run into each other, but Hines coming up with that ground ball, slipping out of bounds. Great work, great ground ball by Hines. Just unfortunate that he slipped going out of bounds.
And have a 4-on-3 there. Tenney finds Zach. Zach finds the back of the net.
Knight's able to take advantage of the quick reset on that one, right?
Yeah, we talked about that in the first half, that the captains were able to do that on the fast breaks. They going out quick. This time the Knights are able to do that. And going back to that ground ball, this being a 13-17 game with over 4 minutes remaining, a lot more manageable, obviously, rather than being down 5 here. Really tough break there after that Red Dog situation where they double-teamed the ball. Nick again taking the face off.
That's a solid fight. I mean, that was a ground ball. He didn't win that clean to himself, but Zach Sands able to fight off Nick Bear.
Ball again on the ground.
They're going to call a loose ball push and make sure that the ball goes back to the captains. Another double team scenario, and Dylan Rice able to roll out of that. Jack Cook, Again, a second defenseman who's long stick at least is hey, it's my turn to tee off.
This time it will be Brad and Seth working the double team here.
Seth's going to try and force him out of bounds, and man, that's some strength.
Got pretty close there, but yeah, that's a great point.
Alex Brenda's showing some strength. Boy, that ball was on the ground, and it didn't look like anybody was going for it except for Dylan.
And then Seth's going to be called for the slash as Dylan Rice finds the back of the net.
Flexing his guns at the end, stares at his bench. That 45-man bench on the other side cheering on the captain's 200-point getter.
Yeah, and that's Dylan's fourth goal of the game. Has 1 assist as well.
Good effort by Seth and Brad. You know, those are tough situations, doing everything they can. Captains just have a lot of skill in how they play. Good ball handlers. 6 goals. If you win this face-off, which they do, now you're going to be down by a couple goals, 6 goals with a lot less time. Good save by Dallin.
Dallin really stepping up.
Illegal procedure calling you're not allowed to touch the goalie when he's in the crease, even if he goes to pass and he hits you with that stick. The refs will almost always blow that as goalie interference, and you get a free clear, which is exactly what Ty's trying to take advantage of Sean Lamb taking advantage of the situation.
That shot by Tenney.
I sure enjoy watching Denison Schmidt shoot the ball. He puts everything he has, all of his weight and effort goes into that shot. It's fun to watch. But Ty Veers looks over at Tenney and says, let me show you exactly how it's done.
This is how you do it.
This is how you do it.
And makes it look effortless, too, Ty, with this shot.
Yeah, he flows. His shot's a very flowy shot. It looks natural, pops out of his stick. And he can, it's a bit of a sidearm 3/4 shot. It's beautiful to watch. You're down by 5 goals. They just can't get into that 3-4 goal range to feel like, they have the place to push it. And then they get a face-off violation, and they're still man down. That was their second man down goal.
Yeah,
right?
second of the game. That's Ty's first goal on the day on 11 shots. So really a tough day for Ty.
Three or four pipes,
Three or four pipes, which really could be the difference in this game. Still, Knights.
The riding, it's interesting how little the 10-man in half, but most in particular in this fourth quarter, really hasn't factored into turnovers or goals.
As this is Brady Altabello holding the ball. He has Carter Bean on him.
And there's not much Carter can do here. If Carter steps out and plays him as a short stick, you're not – Carter Bean is not a takeaway specialist, right? So you step up and try and do too much, he's just going to run by you.
And a wonderful save. I was going to say great cut and goal.
Yeah.
And that was Stockhausen there, but Dallin, even better job. But again, captain's just coming up with all the 50-50 balls.
Reset the shot clock on that, and then the Knights are going to try and get a double team on the ball, and that's why you see no Dallin in the cage. Again, 20, they put up 20. 4 more than they got against the Knights in the first game, but I'm going to say those 4 goals difference right now, at least 4 goals without Dallin in the cage. right?
I think that's 6 now, actually. 5 in the first half, at least 4, maybe 5, and that's now 6. And he's
The
still.
unfortunate thing for Down.
On the day, and there's going to be another shot just wide there, as we are now under 1 minute of play remaining here in this matchup. And there is more time on the shot clock than the game clock, so captains will just hold this ball here.
And the Knights not going into any more double team scenarios. Sean trying to put a little pressure on. It's just little token stuff. He just trying to finish out his last home game with some effort. And we want to congratulate these seniors, Trayson Withers, Isaac DeJarlis, Jake Lamb, Dallin Hampshire, Nick Baird, Chandler Westcott, and Sean Lamb. A really incredible senior class who have dealt with so much adversity over the last 18 months. You know, there's been, they prepared last year. It gets taken away. And of course, it's the same for all the lacrosse players playing this year. But, having known and watched these young men come in as freshmen, been around them, they are all quality men. Several of them are married. Trayson's married. Jake's got a beautiful wife, as does Dallin and Chandler. All 7 of them are looking to move on to big things in their future. Proud of all of them and the fight that they gave, the legacy that they leave at SVU, who they are and what they've done for this program. All of them came here as freshmen except for Nick and Chandler. Nick and Chandler both transferred. Nick transferred from Utah State. Chandler transferred from BYU. Both coming in and making huge impacts in their time here.
Dallin as well, coming from BYU.
Oh, yeah, Dallin also, right. Dallin Hampshire coming from BYU also. Those 3 transfers made huge impacts on this team as they come together at the end over there and, embrace each other. Adam, you know what it's like to play your last home game on this field. It's bittersweet. So proud of these men. I've known them all for a very long time, and I personally am so grateful for what the character that they bring to the school. They make their families and the university proud.
Yeah, and as this game comes to a close, captain's able to take care of business here, 20-14, and what was a good game. And we would invite any Knights fans to continue with us here on the broadcast, as we will honor the 7 seniors right now. We do not have any sound coming from outside. PA system will be announcing the senior script, but we do have that script with us here in the broadcast room as well, so we'll be able to see those seniors on the field, and as they are honored here at Knights Stadium, we will go ahead and do that as well on the broadcast.
Adam, this is a really, my heart is, really full right now when I think about what these 7 men have done for the university, for the lacrosse team, for their teammates and their families. They are a credit to their communities, a credit to their faith, a credit to their own families, and to the teammates here. Each one of them is somebody that you feel like you could count on. All 7 of those men, I could go to personally and say, hey, I need your help, and they would show up. They would be there, and they were there for each other on the field, but they're also there for each other, more importantly, off the field. And it's those kind of men that when you talk about recruiting, you talk about coming to SVU, the kind of men that you want to be around. These are the kind of men you want to play with. These are the kind of men that you want your own son to be like. And I can say that very confidently. I know many of these young men. I know their families. and the kinds of families that they come from and who they are. This is exactly what SVU wants out of their student athletes.
As we have athletic director Deidre Dryden on the field as well. Look like she'll be a part of presenting some awards, as well as Coach Lamb's wife, Megan, who is such a big part of the team as well.
You know, and it's interesting because several of these guys thought that last year would be their last year. You know, that would be their senior season, and all of these guys could have left after last year, and they all chose to come back. And we see Trayson. I know you got some stuff to read about Trayson.
Yeah, Trayson is a 4-year member of the team and has since appeared in 42 games, starting in 13 of those, a lot of them coming his senior year. In his career, Trayson has brought in 22 ground balls and has caused 14 turnovers. After graduating with a degree in business management and leadership and a minor in psychology, Trayson plans on moving back to Utah to pursue a career in business marketing.
Matt, is he a stand-up brother-in-law?
Definitely a stand-up brother-in-law. As you mentioned, all 7 of these guys, but especially Trayson, one of those guys that I can always count on. Glad to have him and congratulate him for his great career and being a great brother-in-law as well.
You'll see a lot more of him in the future. Family get-togethers.
We now have Isaac DeJarlis. In his career at Southern Virginia, Isaac has appeared in 71 games, accumulating 48 points with 31 goals and 17 assists, including a career-high 3 goals in the 21-8 victory over Merchant Marine last year. The West Haven, Utah native has brought in 43 ground balls and caused 12 turnovers as a midfielder. Isaac will graduate with a degree in business management and leadership, pursue a master's, and plans to play lacrosse in Rome.
He's got a family of lacrosse players. His dad, his sister. His family loves lacrosse, and he also holds a distinction, I think, for longest hair on the team, the longest lettuce out the back of the helmet.
Definitely. And next up is Jake Glam, who's probably a close second or third there. Jake has appeared in 62 games in his career while starting 41 and has since scored 13 points with 10 goals and 3 assists. Jake has also recorded 121 ground balls, causing 48 turnovers, and has gone 60 for 157 at the Faceoff X. Following graduation with a degree in business management and leadership, while on the pre-med track, Jake plans to take a gap year while his wife finishes her last year and will apply to med school. We have Dallin Hampshire next. Dallin joined the team in 2020 and has played in 20 games while starting 19 of those. Dallin has recorded 281 total saves in his career, setting a career high and program record 23 saves in his first ever game as a Knight back in 2020 in the 17-13 victory over Catholic. The bountiful Utah native has served over 1,000 minutes in the goal and has maintained a 50% save percentage between the pipes. Dallin will graduate with a degree in liberal arts with a minor in classical studies and a concentration in religious studies. And as you mentioned, Coach, plans to attend Duke Divinity School for the Masters of Theological Studies program in the fall.
And holds the distinction of having the only child on the team.
As well, and it is his son Xander's birthday coming up as well. Shout out for Xander. Nick Bear, as a 3-year member of the team, Nick has appeared in 39 games and has started 25. As an LSM, Nick has scored 9 points with 2 goals and 7 assists while bringing in 197 ground balls with a career-high 12 ground balls in the 18-16 victory over Mary Washington this year. Nick has also caused 62 turnovers and has gone 93 for 326 at the Faceoff X. Nick will graduate with a double major in general biology and biochemistry and has been accepted and will be attending the biochemistry PhD program at BYU.
Nick is a really bright dude. He's fun to be around.
Yes, he is.
Attitude, just infectious, just so much fun.
And next up is Chandler Westcott. Chandler has appeared in 36 games for the Knights and has started 11. The Layton, Utah native has secured 143 points in his career, scoring 82 goals and 61 assists, with a career-high 9 points coming in the 18-16 victory over Mary Washington this year with 6 goals and 3 assists. Chandler has also brought in 64 ground balls and has caused 21 turnovers. Chandler will graduate with a degree in business management and leadership with a concentration in graphic design and will begin his career at SVU as a graphic designer, just as you mentioned.
His father, coach out at UVU, he comes from a long line of, steeped in lacrosse. And we were so blessed, the university, to have Chandler Westcott and his wife Tori here.
And last but certainly not least, Sean Lamb. Sean joined the team in 2017 and has since appeared in 72 games, starting 64 of those, and has scored 266 points with 150 goals and 116 assists. Sean has also brought in 188 ground balls and has caused 55 turnovers. Sean is a 3-time All-Conference player, earning CAC Rookie of the Year in 2017, All-CAC First Team his sophomore year, All-CAC Second Team his junior year. Sean was also selected to the Virginia SID All-State Second Team and was an IMLCA All-Region Honorable Mention his sophomore campaign. Sean will graduate with a degree in business management and leadership with a minor in psychology. Toward this summer.
A diaper change back in the day for Sean Lamb. Which he did. A cool opportunity for him. And all of these young men are just impressive. I love the camaraderie that they have, all staying together right here, taking a picture with those 7 men in front. Love being around them, and SVU is going to miss this group. They've left a really great legacy. Evan, Xander, just an impressive group of young men going on to bigger and better things.
Yes. Definitely hits home a little more today as being a teammate with all of these players. As you mentioned, on to bigger and better things, but we love to congratulate you're part of this night's senior awards and gifts. Again, congratulations.